when they need something or when you need to give them information. So
if I don't need to focus on healing a relationship, but I would.
You'd be the only one.
But I would be the only one.
As the discussion became more in-depth, the host playfully pushed Meri, reminding her that healing on a personal level takes action. After a moment, Meri confessed that, yes, change needed to occur, but just when the time was right. Her vulnerability was impactful, a reminder that rediscovery never fits anyone else's schedule but your own. But it was Janelle who shocked the audience next, by addressing head-on one of the most enduring rumors surrounding her. With years of quiet behind her, Janelle finally spoke up about rumors surrounding her sexuality. She didn't mince words. Everybody is assuming because I didn't want to be included in Cody's assembly line kissing that I'm asexual or shut down, she said. That's just not the case. In fact, Janelle revealed something quite the opposite. She described herself as deeply sensual and connected to her physical self. I'm a very sexual being, she declared, even calling herself an earth mama. She admitted that being single has its challenges. Hormones are hell, she joked, but made it clear she's emotionally and physically ready if the right person comes into her life. The host, Sukanya Krishnan, was visibly shaken and thrilled by Janelle's honesty. It was a side of her that fans had only, maybe never, seen on television. But just as all this seemed to tilt towards hope and self-realization, another plot unfolded, one with much more dire consequences. There's increasing talk about Cody Brown, not as the erstwhile star of a well-known polygamous clan, but possibly as a fugitive from the law. Let's go back. On Sister Wives, Cody and his family resided in Utah, where polygamy was illegal. There was always that feeling of lurking fear in the back of their minds. What if the law came for them? The threat became so real at one point that Cody rounded up his whole family and departed in the dead of night. That threat of arrest was ever present, but now, years down the line, rumors have circulated again. Several sources indicate that Cody's name could be finding its way onto wanted lists. What's going on? Is it true or just rumor mill babble? While there have not been officially confirmed charges against him, his treatment of his ex-wives, including his dubious financial moves, and even the secretive way he conducts his life with Robin, are being questioned by fans. There's even rumor that some brochures or posters declaring him a wanted man have started circulating in some quarters. Is Cody Brown actually in legal trouble again? Or is this merely another turn of events in an already sensationalized saga? As all this gossip circles, Cody and Robin joined host Sukanya Krishnan to discuss something even more sensational, the road's end for polygamy. Cody conceded it outright. He's no longer on a path to a plural marriage life. After all that's transpired, he's had enough. The host asked if he'd ever remarry or begin anew with a second family. His reply? An emphatic no. It was an unusual moment of conclusiveness for Cody, a man who once thought polygamy was a calling from God. Robin's response was instructive. She appeared visibly in doubt, almost distressed, though she indicated that, in theory, she might reconsider polygamy. It would only be on the condition that Cody really wanted it, and evidently he doesn't. So, where does this leave the Brown family? The dream that once bound them together, shared homes, shared parenting, shared love, has officially shattered. And yet, from those broken pieces, some are building new lives on their own terms. But this story isn't over yet. Stay tuned, because in our next episode, we're diving into where the ex-wives are now, and why some of them may be headed for surprising new relationships. Before then, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your comments. Your voice is what is being heard here. Robin, speaking in her usual hesitant voice, conceded that she would consider plural marriage again, but only if God gave her a distinct sign. She spoke it with a half grin, but the intent behind it was real. Without God's guidance or Cody's cooperation, she's not enlisting on that path again. But what if polygamy didn't destroy relationships? What if it almost destroyed Cody's freedom? That's right, Cody Brown, the once proud face of polygamy on reality television, is now at the center of swirling rumors involving possible legal trouble. Though he has openly practiced plural marriage for nearly 3 decades, with Meri, Janelle, Christine, and later Robin, it appears that the choices he once shouted proudly from rooftops may have brought him dangerously close to a jail cell. Let's take a step back. In the early 1990s, Cody wed Meri, then Janelle, then Christine, and lastly, in 2010, he wed Robin. And together, the family premiered Sister Wives on TLC, hoping to demonstrate to the world that their lifestyle was rich in love, purpose, and unity. But the law didn't think so. Polygamy is, and continues to be, illegal in large sections of the United States, and within a short time after the show became a hit, the Brown family saw the very real threat of prosecution. In fact, fear of arrest prompted them to flee Utah in a clandestine, midnight exodus years ago. A recent report indicates that at the time, Cody narrowly escaped doing jail time. Once, the Levi Police Department actively pursued the family in 2016, though no charges were made. Nonetheless, the ordeal shook them. Robin has even been seen on archived interview footage, confessing how badly upset they were, claiming the state of Utah was set on bringing legal action just because of their religious, rural way of living. And now, a decade later, whispers are coming out again. Videos are being shared online, allegations are being made. Some say Cody's name is on wanted lists, others say he's been entangled in another court battle, but the reality is none of these claims are based on facts. Despite the rumors, there is no evidence Cody has broken any laws. No warrants, no charges, no pending legal actions. He's still at home, safe, free, and still figuring out his messy family life. So why do these rumors persist? Because Cody Brown has ever treaded a contentious line. As the ex-patriarch of a polygamous clan in a nation where that way of life tends to hover between legal grey areas, he's been the target of public scrutiny and legal speculation for a long time. His placid, occasionally smirking presence made him an easy target, and in modern-day viral culture, rumors travel more quickly than the truth can keep up. The reality is, love, law, and legacy don't always mesh. Cody's tale, and the tale of the women who stood with him all those years ago, remains to unfold, and although rumors are often untrue, the psychological aftermath of all this family has been through is unquestionably real. So, now what? Has Cody once and for all dropped the polygamy dream of a lifetime? Will the gossip ever subside? And what about the wives, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and Robin, who are now penning their own books? Wait and see, because the next chapter of this family's life may be the most surprising yet. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that little like button, and turn on notifications. You won't want to know what's next on Sister Wives Underground. When Cody's unorthodox house was still standing, Sister Wives was originally introduced to teach audiences about non-traditional family units. But the public response wasn't always welcoming. What started as a bid to make polygamy mainstream quickly provoked backlash. Particularly because, at that point in time, living with multiple partners was technically against the law in their state, although in practice it rarely was. Even so, that threat of illegality hung over them like a storm cloud. Finally, the pressure became unbearable. One evening, without notice, the Brown family vanished. They took everything with them. No press announcement, no farewell, just a discreet, calculated vanishing into the night. To some, it seemed like a confession. To others, it was the only means of saving a messy family from disintegration at the hands of archaic laws. But that escape wasn't the end of the story. It was the beginning of a slow unraveling. Eventually, the family's initially cohesive form disintegrated. 3 of Cody's wives, Christine, Janelle, and Meri, opted to leave. One by one they departed, and as each left, there were new revelations. Their accounts portrayed a far different man than the glossy image presented on television, a man who, they hinted, might have had a tougher time dealing with fairness and responsibility than ever before realized. With one wife now being left, Cody's relationship with Robin was at the forefront. Their dynamic was now in the spotlight, and what everyone witnessed didn't agree with them. As Robin absorbed Cody's time, attention, and affection, questions arose among fans. Questions not only about emotional favoritism, but about the legal and ethical basis of their whole lifestyle. Why was so much effort invested in one relationship while the others broke down? Why were the other wives made to feel invisible? And then came the rumors, the end. Whispers became online threads, anonymous posters and tweets asserted much worse, that Cody Brown may now be wanted by the law. Rumor mills made ominous suggestions, ranging from financial impropriety in his breakups to tax fraud, even to identity document forgery related to all his kinship ties. The rumor was rampant. Had Cody concealed assets from his former wives? Was he in contempt of court? Had he gone too far that no one had anticipated? The reality was clouded, but the concern was genuine. As the rumor ran amok, followers waited to learn the truth, and at long last, a new sit-down interview appeared, a special designed to set the record straight. But did it? Stay tuned, because on our next episode, we'll be dissecting that bombshell interview, breaking down what Cody really said, and ask the question on everyone's mind. The constant airing of the Brown family's reality show only fanned the flames of an already burning controversy. In one tell-all piece, the father figure of the family spoke out about how the lifestyle had ruined him. Emotionally exhausted and disillusioned, he admitted that his days of juggling multiple domestic relationships were behind him. The choice wasn't sensationalized, it was exhausted. He acknowledged he had left that life forever. His sole remaining partner echoed his anguish. Both of them described how much the breakup of their erstwhile sprawling family had hurt them. And although they admitted to the pain, they put it on record. Neither of them ever wanted to enter into new relationships. Robin even joked, sarcastically but with sincerity underlying, she was done sharing a husband, unless God provided a very clear sign. But even such sincere admissions were unable to halt the storm of gossip. Soon after, an old clip came to light. It was Robin discussing the legal threat that their family once received, citing how their previous home state had pondered acting on them for their unusual family setup. That footage went viral. While those threats of litigation had never actually come, their return stirred public fear and mistrust. It emerged that years earlier, the Brown family had been quietly investigated by local law enforcement in their former town. Nothing was ever confirmed in the public domain, no arrests had been made, and the investigation appeared to disappear from view. Yet now, according to some internet reports, long-dormant files are being resurrected and reassessed, perhaps as a result of the show's continued popularity and publicity. As the rumors heat up, legal professionals have weighed in. Their opinion is unanimous. Dwelling in an alternate family arrangement is not by itself a crime. Provided there's no force or fraudulent paperwork involved, it's not a case for court. But the real threat? Red tape. If there were false statements made on court documents, financial forms, or marriage certificates, all of that could flip everything. That's when the distinction between unusual and illegal starts to fade. But despite it all, the official word is still none. There has been no confirmation of ongoing investigations. No cop shop has made any announcement. No charges have been laid. And the central figure in the whole thing? Zip. Both he and Robin remain silent to date on the latest set of claims. Regardless, the whispers get louder by the day. Others claim that this is simply the internet's need to tear down a man who became the face of a lifestyle that most don't comprehend. Cody Brown will forever be a target in their opinion, never because he committed a crime, but because he shook up tradition. Where then does the truth lie? And is this the beginning of another wave of scandal for the Brown family? You won't want to miss what comes next. Be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on notifications, because here on Sister Wives Underground, we'll continue tracking every twist in the story. Cody Brown's tale is now in its most volatile chapter. A man who once publicly professed his love for a plural family now stands alone, his home in ruins and his reputation obscured by gossip. To some, it's a story of a misunderstood man, mistaken for a way of life that defies the conventions. To others, it's an enigma shrouded in silence and partial truths. They demand transparency, thinking there could be more to it than what is happening on the surface. And that silence? It is deafening. As the new installment of his life is acted out, audience members find themselves adrift, attempting to chart a course through a labyrinth of rumor, media spin, and incomplete facts. Without Cody's statement, and without solid proof of misdeed, the truth turns slippery, shaped by conjecture and stoked by public fascination. One thing is sure, fame rarely comes without conflict, and conflict in the Brown family has never come quietly. While the public wrestles with what's real and what's whispered, one of the key voices from the past has stepped forward: Janelle Brown. Once a central figure in the Brown family's polygamous lifestyle, Janelle has now opened up in ways that reveal far more than viewers ever saw on screen. Her recent revelations have reignited interest in the deeper emotional undercurrents that led to the family's unraveling. She was with Cody for decades. Although never married legally, they were married spiritually, united by common faith, values, and an interlocking set of family connections. Indeed, their bond became even more complicated when Janelle's mother wed Cody's dad, meaning they were step-siblings as well as spiritual mates. Together, they had 6 children in a home that was forever attempting, and too often failing, to find balance between independence, structure, and cooperative parenting. The emotional burden of juggling plural marriage and blended family roles was massive. But initially, Janelle took comfort in the dualism of sisterhood and private space. She once believed in the ideal, but then things changed. As Cody turned his increasing attentions to his 4th wife, Robin, an emotional divide grew between him and the rest of his clan. For Janelle, that change wasn't only painful, it was illuminating. The harmony she had once clung to began to disintegrate. The freedom she had loved became loneliness, and the spiritual bond that bound them together dissipated. Janelle's recent comments provide unfiltered insight into what actually propelled her out of there. Not only Cody, but the entire plural marriage setup. It has nothing to do with romance, it has everything to do with respect, equality, being seen, and when that vanished, she did too. The actual break in Janelle and Cody's relationship did not occur overnight. It accumulated gradually, silently, over years of her voice being silenced. Her concerns, her needs, and even her say on matters relating to their children were dismissed or met with silence over time. That, she reports, was the breaking point. When Christine, another sister wife, made the courageous decision to leave the family, Janelle opened her eyes. What she used to think was normal now seemed dysfunctional, even dangerous. It was a moment of painful insight. She was no longer respected in the family she had contributed to, no longer satisfied, and it was this realization that eventually led to her estrangement from Cody. Popularly regarded as the most down-to-earth and pragmatic of the wives, Janelle didn't act hastily. She waited on her life, her principles, and what type of life she really desired. But that introspection was during times of increasing tensions, particularly the pandemic years. Financial pressures only widened the fractures. Disagreements regarding land ownership, property schemes, and joint responsibilities for the kids widened the emotional gap between them. Even tragedy failed to reunite them. The two were reunited momentarily, in sorrow over the heartbreaking, premature loss of one of their sons. But rather than mending their estrangement, the episode only served to demonstrate how emotionally separated they were. The tie was too broken to be repaired. And so, with a heavy but resolute heart, Janelle left him for good. Her priorities now, her children, her health, and her peace. But she didn't just vanish into silence. Recently, in a hotly awaited one-on-one special, Janelle had a televised sit-down interview and at last talked about it all. Unflappable and poised as ever, she didn't rant, she didn't attack, but her words packed punch. She let a theory slip, one that left everyone in the room speechless. Janelle said, according to him, Cody became the bad guy in the saga. Why? Because in absorbing all the criticism, he could shield Robin, the fourth and sole wife, from the public eye. It was, as she termed it, the gospel according to Janelle. The theory went viral on the internet. Supporters argued it into the ground. Some thought it made sense of Cody's recent season behavior changes. Others thought it was a desperate attempt to rationalize things that had caused so much pain. Still, Janelle didn't sound bitter. She was adamant. Her heart was clear, not bitter. She didn't yearn for the way things used to be, and when asked if she would ever be able to remain friends with Cody and Robin, her answer was biting, truthful, and profoundly understandable. She doesn't enjoy them, not as individuals, not as friends, and not as spouses she could ever see living with again. And that's the reality from Janelle's perspective. No softening, no script, just a woman taking back her voice. Janelle Brown's leaving her plural marriage wasn't a snit, it was a courageous thing to do. As she described it, she no longer regards her former sister wives as enemies, but as individuals whom she no longer identifies with. It was a quiet but powerful expression of a greater truth. Janelle valued peace over pretense, honesty over duty. Her choice to leave behind a marriage that no longer nourished her emotionally or spiritually wasn't about revenge, it was about rediscovery. To her, pretending to mend shattered relationships just for the sake of keeping up appearances wasn't worth the cost anymore. One of the most heartening things that have happened since her exit has been the deepening of her relationship with Christine. Once sister wives in a complicated and sometimes hurtful family dynamic, the two women are now each other's biggest supporters. Their relationship has become something powerful, a genuine partnership built on mutual respect and unshakable support. From road trips to holidays to just showing up for each other and their children, Christine and Janelle have built a new type of family. She constructed it not on rule, but on healing. Janelle and Meri have a different story to tell, though. Their interactions are still polite, yet there's an evident emotional space. Both women have each forged their own way, with Meri moving into her work and isolation, seemingly not caring about the building of old relationships. That distance was more pronounced when Cody, never afraid to ruffle feathers, recently called Meri his favorite ex-wife. For Janelle, the comment was a reminder. After all they had been through, she took it not as flattery but revisionism. To her, Cody was attempting to rewrite history, to save whatever remnants of control he still maintained over a family that had long gotten away from him. It wasn't about love, it was about image. But Janelle has lost interest in illusions. Maybe the most important aspect of her journey is how she's celebrated being alone without fear. She's not interested in remarrying or in needing to be loved by a man. Instead, she's busy creating a quiet, fulfilling life on her own terms, one that's rooted in wellness, autonomy, and family. Whether she is laying down roots in a new town or just savoring quiet moments with her adult children and grandchildren, Janelle exudes a confidence that only arises from taking back one's identity. In a beautiful tidbit of detail, Janelle never formally divorced. For her, the spiritual union dissolved when she knew that she no longer measured her value on being a wife. That inner awareness was the closure she required. She now asserts herself as single, not because she's single, but because she is complete. Through social media and public appearances, Janelle has been sharing glimpses of her new life. From wellness challenges to joyful vacations with friends, her days are filled with renewal. Her posts are uplifting, honest, and full of gratitude, not just for the good times, but for the trials that shaped her into the resilient woman she is today. Thanks for tuning in to Sister Wives Underground. Don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll never miss an episode about bravery, transformation, and the women who didn't take no for an answer. Catch you in the next update.